And so the first part of the part of the state capture inquiry report will be handed over to President Cyril Ramaphosa at the Union Buildings tomorrow. And some have speculated that the fire in Parliament is linked to the release of this report. For analysis on what to expect when the report is made public, we are now joined by legal analyst, Advocate Romeo Ntabeleni. Thank you so much, Advocate, for your time. Let's start off with, what do you think? Do you actually think that there is a link between this fire and the state capture report being given over now to the President tomorrow?
Good afternoon, and compliments of the new year. I'm not sure about issues pertaining to the fires. I think, as you have rightfully said, that there's just speculations around saying that maybe it might be linked. So I think let's wait for the investigations not to come with something that is conclusive. Then we can be able to make a determination as to what was the cause of the fire.
Now, we do know that this report will be handed over then to the President tomorrow. What do you think we could possibly expect from it? It is, of course, the first part of it.
Yeah, as this is a truncated report, and I think, given the nature of the work and the terms of reference of the State Capture Commission, you would expect that there's a lot that is, expected to be concluded by the Commission in line with its terms of references. So I believe that, this is the important part which is going to set a tone of what we would expect in the report that is going to be submitted in trenches. So the first trench will deal with the issues pertaining to how the investigations were conducted and, the findings. And then from there we will be able to see, who is implicated, what is the implications, and, what are the steps that will be taken. And, I'm happy to see that the President has indicated that they are going to release the report immediately, because there were concerns that the President went and he was testifying and he's not a suitable person to receive the report.
The issue, of course, of it being made public is quite an important one, because it would then show some form of transparency from our government.
I think transparency is an important key element that needs to be indicated in this report. The President is a constitutional being. He has signed and he has taken an oath of office to say that he will respect the constitutions and the law of the Republic. So we believe to him to be the first person to set an example that when the report is made public, people will be able to see that there is indeed transparency in the government and there is nothing to hide.
They are often criticized, the NPA, around the issue of, or even the Hawks. With a report like this, we could possibly be seeing recommendations. What would the expectation then be from the Hawks and the NPA around these recommendations that would be made by the State Capture Commission of Inquiry?
Yeah, this is interesting, because in the past, you couldn't use the information or the evidence that you have received from a commission to start a prosecution process. But the government, the President has amended, legislation in order for the commission to be able to share the information with other law enforcement agencies. And then now, this should be a report that sets a tone that it's not just a commission that is going to waste the taxpayers' money, but it's going to be a commission that is going to hold those perpetrators that are named in the report accountable. And that is what the nation is expecting, to see real people and real convictions and real cases that are going to court to secure convictions. And that is very much important, and that is what is different in terms of this commission.
I mean, Advocate, our legal system is often criticized as well around what you've just mentioned, seeing people actually going to court and them being held accountable for what they have done.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. So, in court, you work with evidence, and then depending on the type of a case that you're actually dealing with, in criminal proceedings, you must prove your case beyond reasonable doubt. So the issue of evidence, of how evidence is procured, and how the NPA and the Hawks and other law enforcement agencies are going to react to this is very much important, so that real people can be seen in real orange overalls. That's what people were expecting, because for 3 years, lots and lots of money and investment was made into the State Capture Commission. So people will want to see the results and the value of the money that was put inside this commission.
And we are really hoping, isn't it, that we do see that happening. Then, of course, we do know that the second part of the report will be handed over to the President end of January and the third end of February. Do we expect for there to be much changes to the 3 reports that we are seeing that will be handed over, or it will just be additions, really, from the one to the other?
It will be just additions. As I've said, that the first one will set a tone as to what we need to expect in line with the terms of references of the Commission. And then the second trunk will be the issue dealing with the content of the report. And then the last trunk, obviously, will have conclusions and recommendations on what needs to actually happen. And then this is the information that will be shared with other law enforcement agencies. And then from there, we can be able to expect to see the machinery moving and then matters being brought to court, as the NPA has actually indicated in their address as well, to say that they're imminently waiting for this report to come through.
Advocate, I just quickly want us to go back to that issue of the fire there in Parliament. And we've heard consistently the conversations around Parliament being relocated and moved into Gauteng, specifically in Tshwane. Do you think this is actually feasible at all?
Yeah, it's feasible because it will save the state costs in terms of ministers and state officials being accommodated in 2 places, being Pretoria, the capital city, and also Cape Town. So I think that suggestion makes sense, and in the long term, it will save the taxpayers a lot of money in terms of expenses in between Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Now, Advocate, what are you then, going back to the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, of course, the President getting the first report tomorrow, the first part of the report tomorrow, what are you expecting or hoping to see within that report?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see the report that is in line with the terms of references and the work that the Zondo Commission has done in terms of gathering the evidence and be able to set a tone of what to expect in the second tranche of the report and the third tranche of the report in terms of state capture and how deep was the state capture in terms of the investigations that are done by the State Capture Commission, because you cannot address things on the surface. You have to actually go into the contents and the details